Hello, property nomads. Hope you're well. We've got some bad news about nuclear production, and that is that in the last year, a world report shows that nuclear energy production fell by 4%. Now, this isn't very good because, as we've discussed on the channel before, if we're going to make this transition to being more eco, being more green, and all that sort of stuff, you need to have a baseline energy. Now, your baseline, or sorry, base load energy, I should say. Your base load energy at the moment consists majorly of oil, gas, coal as well, and a little bit of nuclear. But in order to be able to facilitate things like solar, wind, geothermal energy production, all of those sorts of things, you want to have a different base load energy. And if you want to have a greener baseload energy, then you should be looking at nuclear, because nuclear is the answer. It's a lot greener than oil, it's a lot greener than coal, it's a lot greener than gas, and that should meet the needs of the eco warriors out there. So in fact, this report's come out to say that nuclear's share in global electricity production fell by 4% in 2022. Is bad, but it's also its lowest level since the 1980s. And for a world that wants to be more lean, mean, and green, this is a step in the opposite direction. This is really, really not good news. Because as we said, if we're going to have all this solar, all this wind, and we're going to follow through with all these, net zero climate things, then nuclear is the way forward. But as we're seeing, a lot of countries, especially in Western Europe, are not putting the time, effort, and resources into nuclear, and they've been neglecting it for many, many years. And nuclear is the answer. I said in our predictions for 2023 that more people would wake up to nuclear, and I think that more people are starting to wake up to nuclear, but not at the amount that we need to wake up to. So it's really sad to see this article. It's really sad to see that the percentage has fallen, and things like this. It says for the first half of 2023, there were apparently 407 reactors in operation across just 32 countries. That represents a decline of 4 operating reactors from the previous year and a decline of 31 operating reactors from a decade ago. So nuclear is regressing. At the time when nuclear needs to be moving in the opposite direction, it's regressing. Why? Because we've had decades of underfunding nuclear. Even from a government level, you need to be contrarian. So when everyone's, talking oil, gas, and whatever, even all governments need to be looking at something different and going, okay, well, let's keep going in nuclear. Now, the issue we have in UK is that the Blair government in the late 90s, there's a lot of shady stuff going on, botched a few deals here and there, but they basically pulled the plug on nuclear. And we're now seeing the effects of that 25, 26 years later. Whereas if we had just kept ticking along in nuclear, maybe we'd have more energy security here in the UK. The thing, as a lot of people will tell you about energy markets, is it's not easy to change the supply. It's just not easy to change the supply on a macro level, especially if you're looking to generate more. This is why when people talk about mining, people talk about increasing the amount of nuclear. You don't just do that with a click of your finger. These things can take years to get going, and by then it's already too late. So quite a depressing article for a world that wants to go more greener, leaner, and meaner. It's a step in the wrong direction. The fact that nuclear energy production fell by 4% last year. No bueno, as I like to say. Thank you for listening to Property Nomads. Please do us a small favor and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're finding that because of the variety of content we're putting out, and for yourselves that are actually subscribing, it's really making a difference to the channel. So really thank you for doing that. So please go and subscribe. And if you want different content and you want more property content, head over to Property Nomads podcast. We do a lot of different content over there. It's on iTunes, Spotify, various other podcast platforms. So please do go and subscribe to the podcast as well. Thank you very much. We will see you in the next video.